Good evening, Shawnee Mission, and welcome to the Distinguished Leader Speaker Series. I'm Angela Smart, here today with good friends and co-chairs, Tracy and Charlie Tetrick. We thank everyone for their continued support of the Shawnee Mission Education Foundation. We are so grateful for all that this amazing organization does to advance scholarship and leadership in the Shawnee Mission schools.
This Foundation Speaker Series always brings us a thought-provoking evening featuring inspiring speakers, including those with strong Shawnee Mission School District connections. Tonight we're truly fortunate to feature a group that brings our whole community tremendous pride, the Shawnee Mission Class of 2021. Every single Shawnee Mission senior was invited to share their story for this series. And tonight we feature portraits of what members of this class wanted to share with all of us. We are sure you'll find they're a resilient group. Growing up is challenging enough, and they've had to navigate that through this global pandemic. They are days away from concluding their educational experience in Shawnee Mission, ready for the unlimited possibilities that await them.
In their own voice, they are sharing their personal stories of strength, hope, resilience, and are giving their best advice for our younger students. Through these senior portraits, you will hear examples of what makes our community SMSD strong. To get us started, let's meet two of our distinguished hosts from the class of 2021. Leilon from Shawnee Mission West and Philip from Shawnee Mission South.
Hey Shawnee Mission, my name is Leilon and I'm a senior at Shawnee Mission West.
And I'm Philip, a senior from Shawnee Mission South.
We are very proud to introduce to you the senior class of 2021. As you know, it's been a pretty crazy year for our seniors, but we've all managed to get through it together. The seniors you meet tonight have their own unique stories, interests, and experiences. Tonight, we are celebrating them as individuals and celebrating what we all share, our amazing Shawnee Mission education.
Tonight we will hear about our peers' successes and struggles and what they have overcome and accomplished on their SMSD journey. I'm most proud of how I've been able to get involved and connect with my school and community. I've been able to lead, serve, and learn from others. My involvement has led me to some amazing opportunities like the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy and Leadership Shawnee Mission. My advice to any younger student in the Shawnee Mission School District is to get involved. You never know where it could lead. Now, let's hear from a few more seniors about their SMSD journey.
And I wanted to share with you all a small part of the wonderful journey I've experienced through the Shawnee Mission School District and what I've gathered from this chapter of my life that is coming to a close soon. In the past 2 years, I, along with the help of two other of my peers, have worked hard to begin and maintain a community service club through an organization called Rotary International. The Interact Club emphasizes service above self and was created in order to bring young leaders together from all grade levels within Shawnee Mission South, across the district, and even outside of it as well. We're extremely fortunate that with the help of the Overland Park Rotary Club, we have the opportunity to partake in something bigger than ourselves and make a difference in our community for future generations to come. In addition, I'm very excited to announce that after high school, I plan to further my relationship with Rotary International and take a gap year to study in Liège, Belgium. I would like to take this year to grow my understanding of the world around me, continue studying French, and learn more about its culture. I would like to give a huge thanks to the Shawnee Mission School District for being a stepping stone for my post-secondary education plans and for making all of these wonderful opportunities possible for me to better my future. Without the help of my family, my peers, my teachers, and counselor, I wouldn't be the same person I am today.
So I picked Mrs. Johnson-Berry, Mrs. JB. She's been a great influence on me and in the way I carry myself and do things in life. She's a great role model and she has very good morals and standards that she sets for you and how she helps you, succeed in your high school career and so forth. She goes over the top, she does everything the right way, and she's a great multitasker. And she's fun to talk to, she always talks about life, and she's very open-minded, she's a great conversationalist, and just an amazing role model that I've taken some of her stuff and put it to mine, and I'm so thankful for her. And she's changed my life in many ways in being positive, optimistic, and always keeping my head up and making sure, knowing that people are watching you and the way you carry yourself can impact their lives. And I just want to do it positively.
Growing up, my mother had this saying she always told me. She said, no matter what you're going through, the earth will continue to spin. Life will keep going. I didn't really realize what this meant until a week before my freshman year. My nephew passed away. School started and I didn't have an ounce of motivation left in me. Started skipping classes, talking back, got in fights. I lost myself. One day my mother knocked on my door. picked up my broken pieces, taped them together, and called it a masterpiece. She looked at me and told me, "You have to learn to move with the current or life will leave you behind. Watch you mold into the odds you were born to fight and turn a blind eye as if they had nothing to do with it." That's when I understood. Life keeps going, with or without you. When we walk across that stage, we will be thrown into the real world. There will be nights where it feels like you are failing more than you are growing. Opportunities you won't know whether to seize or turn down. Times you will literally have to drag yourself out of bed just to clock in on time when you catch yourself. Despising that 9-to-5 job, craving to make an impact on the world, remind yourself. If you are too busy trying to fight the current, you are just dead weight. Patience is key. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was working 2 jobs as a waitress and a bartender, only a year before she became a congresswoman. Howard Schultz was rejected the idea of Starbucks 217 times before becoming the co-founder of a company with a worth over $110 billion. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty. Only decades later, she was recognized as North America's first Black multi-billionaire. Jackie Chan was abandoned by both his mother and father at the age of 6, locked away in a boarding school before becoming the highest paid actor in Asia. Every single one of them are living epitomes of rags to riches, beating the odds, refuse to take no as an answer. Graduating class of 2021. When you are out there conquering the world on your own and you feel like you aren't being successful fast enough, teach yourself to turn nothing into something. Leave your presence lingering in every room you leave. Let people stare and whisper. Show them we are different. Every chance you get, remind yourself. Every current moves different. Every story has a different ending, and you decide how yours ends.
And the thing that I'm going to miss most from my high school experience is Lancer Day. It's a great experience, from the floats to the costume to the parade, to the pep rally, and then to the football game at the end of the day. And along with that, it also is a great way that brings the entire East community together, from kindergartners and like middle schoolers and to freshmen and seniors, and then the parents and the faculty. Like, it really is a great experience. I'm definitely going to miss it more this year because I didn't get my senior year Lancer Day. I didn't get to do my senior year float. However, I would not trade the Lancer Day experience for anything in the world, and it is one of the very best parts of being a Lancer.
And one piece of advice I would give to my 8th grade self to be successful in high school is be yourself. I know that it's cheesy, but honestly, best piece of advice I could have ever told my younger self. I just cared way too much about what people thought of me or what they were going to think of me, and really it didn't matter. No one's opinion matters but your own. It's your life. If you let other people decide what makes you happy, then it's not your life anymore. So do what makes you happy and be yourself.
Personally, I think being a part of the signature programs at the CAA has changed my life. It gave me a lot of opportunities to learn about different careers and taught me skills that I wouldn't normally get in a traditional high school class, like training you would use in a job. Last month, I got my certification in AutoCAD, which is a program engineers use to design things in. I made a jet engine in it and presented it to actual engineers. I think it's experiences like this that really make the program life-changing. The teachers are also really supportive and help you with basically anything you need. Also, being in a community with people who want to do similar things as me really helped motivate me and actually made me enjoy school way more. I felt like I was really doing something important for my future, and I would definitely recommend taking a class here at anyone.
Hey, hi, hello. I'd just like to take the time to talk about my favorite teacher, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson has taught me everything I know, from animation to editing. Johnson always knows how to start the day off with some words of encouragement.
Okay, snowflakes, it's time to get back to work.
Mr. Johnson is always there if you need help. If you need it or not. With all joking aside, Mr. Johnson is my favorite teacher, and I think I'm his favorite student too. He always inspires and motivates me to do better and just go 100% on everything. 1000% even.
Yes, Bianca's my favorite student who never did a single thing I told her to do. Bianca did a wonderful job in this class. What I really loved is she took the assignment I gave and went way beyond expectations, made every project I gave her her own in a unique and thoughtful way. So she didn't just replicate what I gave, but really made it her own and made it something special. And that's what this class is all about.
If I gave myself a piece of advice, I think there are two things that I would say to my younger self, and that would be patient. Things come with time, and for example, making new friends, it takes time. Developing those relationships as well as these assignments are a lot different than some of the ones I was used to in grade school. For example, conducting my own experiment, I had to be patient. I had to do different trials and try again. And I'm so grateful I had that experience. The other piece of advice I'd give myself is find balance between your academics, between your social life, and between the clubs you join outside of school as well as sports. Because that's gonna lead you to your success is if you're happy and enjoying it at the same time.
A program that has truly changed my life is the Biotechnology Signature Program at Center of Academic Achievement. Being a fully remote student this year was definitely difficult due to me being placed at different high school with brand new teachers and brand new students. I felt out of place and not sure of my placement or where I was supposed to be. But I never felt that way in my biotechnology class. From the first time I logged into WebEx, I knew that I belonged there. I knew that the people were kind and they were open and they would never judge me for my mistakes. I am extremely grateful to have met the two teachers in charge of that program, Dr. Lee and Miss Perez. They are more than teachers, they are your constant supporters. I am extremely grateful for the things that they have taught me and what this program has taught me in my love of science and also in myself.
My journey through the Shawnee Mission School District has been an exploration of opportunity that I would not trade for the world. I went to John Deemer Elementary School and Indian Woods Middle School, and the teachers there really helped me discover who I am and who I wanted to be, which is something I'm still working on and still working towards. And they also really cared, especially my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Huvis, and both my music teachers in elementary and middle school, Mr. Chauza and Mrs. Donahue, really had a caring, nurturing way to their lessons that made me feel important and valued, that made me feel like I could do anything. But what is really unique is the ability to teach not to the textbook and not to the test, but to the real world. They really wanted me to learn. The Shawnee Mission School District and I have had so many opportunities gifted to me, whether through fine arts or academics, that have allowed me to thrive and flourish and be the bubbly personality that I am, and I am so thankful that I have been set up for success in the next chapter of my life. Gonna own up like a grown up, never gonna see these arms thrown up, gonna rise strong. I'm grateful for all the opportunities that are presented to me and that they have panned out how I want them to. I'm grateful that I have been set up for success through the Shawnee Mission School District by my teachers and my peers and my parents, definitely my parents. So I don't know where I'll end up, but I know that the future has lots in store for me. I'm so excited.
Gonna rise strong. For me, my path has been learning that I can give back to my community, use my voice, and become a student leader. I have felt like it was important for me to put myself out there, but that was something I had to learn how to do. When I learned to use my voice, I realized what can be accomplished. I learned I can maybe inspire students who are learning to use their voice too. It's okay to be different and stand out. I hope my example helps others to do things they never thought they could do. I hope other students know they too can be who they want and the world will celebrate it. While in high school, I've learned that through grit and resilience, brick by brick, you build a path to change.
Reflecting on the last 2 years of my life, I have learned immensely about resilience, especially due to COVID. I am a strong believer that resilience can be learned, and when COVID started to spread and my life, like many others, was changed forever, I had to adapt and find the silver linings. I accept that the pandemic has pointed my life in a completely different direction than I originally intended, but through it all, I can say I was always able to master my emotions to keep me on the right track. In regards to resilience, I learned that when I do fail because things didn't go as planned, I know I can always bounce back. I am able to acknowledge my mistakes and use it as an opportunity of growth. Going forward in life, I have the mindset to make sure I'm constantly excelling in whatever I put my mind to. Overall, I believe resilience gives me the power to overcome setbacks so that I can live a life I've always dreamed of.
One piece of advice I would give to myself in 8th grade to be successful in high school is to speak up in class. I spent a lot of time being confused and feeling lost because I didn't have the courage to ask questions to understand the lessons. I promise your classes will be a lot more fun, engaging, and interesting if people are speaking up. I personally find I get a lot more out of the class if I ask questions so that I understand. I know a lot of people, including myself at one point, are afraid or even feel ashamed to speak up, but I want to let you know that it's okay to raise your hand and ask questions. I think the teachers as well really appreciate it, both in hybrid and online. Asking questions proves you are engaged and actively learning, and it really makes you feel better once you've left the class that you've learned something. I hope this helps.
Before I start, I'd like to thank everyone who has supported me all throughout high school. A piece of advice I'd give to my 8th grade self is stay out of trouble. Now I got a story for y'all. I was recently incarcerated and released. I did 56 days in juvie, 14 days in Johnson County Jail, and 3 days in New Century Jail. The craziest part about all of this is that I'm still on track to graduation. It's not too late to turn your life around. Everyone makes mistakes, but at the same time everyone learns to overcome those mistakes. It also takes time to come to realization about life in general, but when you figure that piece out, you learn to figure out what's right and what's wrong. What are ways you can stay out of trouble? Try finding a club, a sport, a job, or even a hobby that interests you. Another way is don't be influenced and hang with the wrong group. Last but not least is don't do drugs. Not only can drugs affect your health, but it can impact you legally and financially. To end this video, just stay out of trouble.
So, over the past 2 years, I've learned that I'm much more capable than I ever allow myself to be. When the pandemic hit, I lost any form of structure in my life, which led me to rely on my individual ability to create a schedule for myself. And I've never been a very organized person, and I love to procrastinate, so I didn't really allow myself to be accountable. But now that was going to be unavoidable. With college just around the corner and online school starting up, I had to learn to self-motivate in order to continue a journey towards success. Even when I would have rather watched Netflix or fallen asleep, I learned to put in the work now in order to reap the benefits later. Now, I'm proud to say that I sport my highest GPA in my final semester of high school. I'll be finishing high school with a 4.35 GPA, and I'm a much more confident and accountable person than I used to be 2 years ago.
So these past 4 years have truly been a time of tremendous growth, and not only in myself, but in my peers as well. And I think if I got the chance to go back and give my 8th grade self some advice, it would definitely be something along the lines that to truly improve, you have to work on what you're weakest at first. Which would be very terrifying advice to receive as an 8th grader, especially when all your weaknesses you're trying to hide away and make sure no one else sees them. But I know for myself, I was very shy, reserved, and public speaking was one of my greatest fears. And I think if I had gotten that advice to be more intentional, to work on what I'm weakest at, it definitely could not have hurt. So 8th grade self, if you are out there, please heed this advice and just work on what you're weakest at. There's no shame in that, and it cannot hurt to invest more in yourself.
This past year has been a difficult time for all of us, but I'll remind you to understand, reflect, and look back to how far we've already made it. Nearly a year ago, our lives took an unexpected twist that no one was prepared for and that no one saw coming. In the blink of an eye, we were forced to find new systems of communication and engagement, but we did so successfully. For those of you who feel discouraged right now, especially my fellow seniors, I'll remind you that we're all in this together. And while that may sound very cliche, if you're here today, it means that you've shown resilience in the face of adversity. It means you've already proven your strength and determination to overcome what we're currently faced with. In the end, what we're facing is greater than each of us individually. And if we continue to stand together, if we continue to stand united, we'll reach the light at the end of the tunnel together.
Resilience is a huge positive, you know, whether it comes from thinking outside the box or someone tells you can't do something, so you're like, I'm gonna do it just because you said I can't. It's gonna keep pushing that through a career. Whether I'm running on a fire truck or on an ambulance, if somebody says you can't break through that door, I'm gonna go, well, yes I can, watch me. And that's just kind of how it's gonna keep going. Never giving up has helped me become not only a better student, but achieve the goals that I need to achieve or want to achieve. It kind of goes with the fact that, you know, it's, for fire science example, it's a guy's job, you know. You never see very many females or females of my height, rather, pick this job. So never giving up has helped me become a better student. It pushed me to strive for those goals that people wouldn't typically expect me to achieve. Things do kind of sometimes get tough, but it's keeping that mindset of you'll get there one day. It may not be tomorrow, but you'll get there.
So I would say the foundation helps students by just giving them a variety of options of ways to get involved and just put themselves out there. Foundation Breakfast, for example. It was just really cool to be involved, and just with the Leadership Shawnee Mission, that was just an all-around amazing program that gets us involved and gets us some of the real life experience and exposure. So when I got a letter my, I believe, sophomore year, like kind of thrown into it, and then when I figured out what it was, I just realized how amazing it was that, you know, our school district has this foundation that is trying to better us as students and just a community. You know, I was just a normal kid that thought I had really good leadership skills, but after, I would say that a piece of wrapping paper was torn off of me, and it paired me with a handful of other kids from the district, had us work together and gave us, sometimes we had challenges which required leadership, you know, to work in a group, and that just helped in the long run and in life. We're just better people. I would not be, you know, sitting here talking to you with the confidence that I have if I did not participate in the Leadership Shawnee Mission program. And all of a sudden, Kim Hinkle shows up in my driveway, and then she hands me this envelope. She's like, well, this is your Scholarship Shawnee Mission total. You know what that means? And I was like, I think so. And then it just was so shocking, you know, and you don't think you are gonna have enough money, but here's a little, you know, help. The foundation giving me that envelope blew my mind that 18 different schools, you know, want me to be an academic student at their institution. If you get the letter, you know, take part in it, because the foundation really wants to help our students and give them those real life and real world experiences outside of the classroom too. You know, a different environment might spark something in a little kid that, you know, another kid that doesn't get the experience might not have.
As we share these senior portraits with you, the members of the senior class are days away from receiving our diplomas. It's an inspiring time to reflect on the friendships we've made and the things we've accomplished. And it's also time to take a moment to be grateful for our families and educators who have helped us along the way. We hope you will be inspired by these stories and share in celebrating with us.
I think what makes me most excited for the future is that I'll have a greater ability to change the world. It could be anyone or anything that you do that can impact the world in a good way. I plan to do physical therapy in the future, and if my dream becomes true, then I feel just like from my small position, I'll be able to make such a big impact. It doesn't have to be like anything big or giant. It can just be making someone smile every day. In physical therapy, lots of injured athletes come with sometimes their dreams and hopes crushed. But I believe that through my job and the ability to rehabilitate them will help give them a smile and be able to change the world just from a little bit by a little bit.
Throughout my years at Northwest, I've had amazing teachers that have helped me out in numerous ways. Especially this year, I've had a lot of health problems that have come up, and all of my teachers have been super supportive and helped me throughout with anything that I needed. One teacher that I would like to highlight, however, is Mrs. Morris. Mrs. Morris has been there for me from the moment that I stepped into her classroom. She's provided me with so many great opportunities. My sophomore year, she set up a job shadowing experience with an actuary for me, and I learned a lot from that, being especially that I do not want to be an actuary, but that was okay because I learned a lot of amazing things that'll keep with me forever from that. And she's pushed me to be more creative, and I'm not really an artistic person, but she's pushed me to try new forms of art, and I've really come to enjoy some of those. And she's always been there for me, whether it be reading an essay and making recommendations, whether it be for college, IB, or scholarships. But most of all, I know that if I need anyone to talk to or have a problem, that I can turn to Mrs. Morris.
One of the biggest people that inspired me on my dive team was my friend Jaden. So he'd drive us over to North every day after school. He also had a lot of drive, a lot of heart, and we'd talk in the car about what we could do to get better. Another big person who's helped me was Miss Anderson, my study skills teacher. She's been patient with me, like next level patient. Definitely one of my biggest inspirations was Coach Rude. When she came up to me and she said, "Hey, I actually see potential in you," it sent a shock down my spine saying, "Hey, you actually have somebody who believes in your skill." When I got onto a varsity dive, I finally found, hey, I have something that I'm good at, something I enjoy, something I need to work for. And if I can't get good grades, I can't show everybody how good I am.
I'd have to say that I'm most proud of accomplishing 3.5 years of high school. And they are not kidding when they say time flies, because this has felt like nothing. I remember my first day of freshman year, and it was scary to think what high school was going to be like and what was I to expect and what was going to happen, but I had to go through it. I always thought high school was going to kind of be like the movies, where you had your scary popular kids and your mean girls and your jocks, and it wasn't really like that. You had your cliques here and there, but I thought all the students were really nice, and I made lots of friends, and the teachers were really welcoming and always willing to help. It was nice. I wanted to be at school because it was a good environment. I'm also most proud of how much I have grown personally through the way I look at pictures back in freshman year and the way I see myself now. Like, my character and my thought process has just changed so much. Like, man, it's crazy.
My 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Rudolph, at Krista McAuliffe Elementary School, always told me that I could be the best. And I always said, "Ms. Rudolph, I'm just like every other 4th grader." She said, "Yes, but you and every other 4th grader has the potential to be the best." I'm seeing all of the hard work that I put in throughout middle school, throughout high school, and I'm seeing it begin to pay off in ways I would have never expected. And so I owe a piece of that to her, and make the best version of myself I can make. My brother was a National Merit finalist 2 years ago, and he really inspired me to not pass up opportunities when they come around. So in September, they notified the semifinalists for the National Merit competition. And when I found out that I was moving on in the competition, it really changed my mood. The ability to create something with a set of tools that otherwise wouldn't have existed is really, really unique, and it's actually inspiring. So when debate moved online, it was a totally different ballgame. I would grab my dog, who would be sitting right here while I was debating, set him up on my lap, and talk to him about my round, and that really inspired me to continue going. And so I gotta thank my dog on that one. My debate teacher, Mrs. Lawler, has always been a bit of a rock for me. Whenever I feel like my life is going a little bit crazy, I go to her and I just talk through some of the things that I was feeling, some of the things that I was thinking. While she's always been an inspiration for me in both an academic sense, it's also been a personal journey for me. And she gave me some poetry that really helped me through this tough time in my life, and I still reflect on those poems whenever I feel down. Seeing them and how closely they work together to make music really inspired me to want to be better. So I saw my older brother was one of the members, and my best friend Ryan was one of the members, and they were able to take this thing that we had all been practicing and turn it into art. I just remember being with all of my friends, standing up on that stage, and just this wall of sound emanating around me, and just knowing that I'm a part of that sound. It's life-changing.
Thank you all for joining us this evening for the Distinguished Leader Speaker Series Senior Portraits. We're grateful for your support of our senior class and the Shawnee Mission Education Foundation.
We can't wait for graduation in a few weeks, and we can't wait for all of you to see what we will become in the days and years ahead. Congratulations to the class of 2021, and thank you all for watching. Good night.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening as we celebrate the Shawnee Mission class of 2021.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, you can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You can be the one, you can be the one, you can talk to God, girl, banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock, you can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck, dedicate yourself and you can find yourself. Standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's gonna know your name. You burn with the brightest flame, and the world's gonna know your name, and you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame. You can go the distance, you can run the mile, you can walk straight through hell with a smile. You can be a hero, you can get the gold, breaking all the records they thought never could be broke. Do it for your people, do it for your pride, never gonna know if you never even tried. Do it for your country, do it for your name, 'cause there's gonna be a day when you're standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's gonna know your name, 'cause you burn with the brightest flame, and the world's gonna know your name, and you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame. Be champion, be champion, be champion. Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be preachers. Be believers, be leaders, be astronauts, be champions, be truth seekers. Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be preachers. Be believers, be leaders, be astronauts, be champions. Standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's gonna